Hello friends, this is Praveen, and today we are going to learn the rise of nationalism in Europe. So, in the late 19th century, the concept of nationalism emerged as a wildfire, and it changes the political and the economical scenario of the Europe. As the consequences, these nation states replace the multi-dynastic Roman empires. So, what is the concept of nationalism, or what is a nation? A nation is a modern state which has a fixed boundary and is ruled by a centralizing government. Also, the citizens of that particular region or the people living in that particular regions are deeply woven or interconnected with the common sentiments of the common identity, common history and descendants. So the concept of the nationalism came after the French Revolution. At that time, the different artists try to represent this concept of nationalism through their paint or artworks. One of that artists was Frederick Schlegel. In 1848, he created a series of 4 prints that named the dream of the worldwide democratic and socialist republic. One of that prints was the pact between the nations. In that pact, first he tried to represent the liberty through the Statue of Liberty, and it has a torch of the Enlightenment in the left hand and the torch of the Charter of the Man and Rights in the right hand. And it tried to represent the nations as a wrong relays of the wrong lines of the crowd people coming through. And different countries were represented by their national flag and their national colors. If one country has crossed the Statue of Liberty, that means that country has become independent. So, in the painting, we can see that the countries such as Switzerland and USA has already passed the Statue of Liberty, and that signifies that they have become independent at that time. And the France has just reached the Statue of Liberty. This indicates that France has just become a nation state. The France was followed by Germany, the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies, Lombardia, Ireland, Britain, Poland, and Russia. So, and at the end of the painting, there remains the scattered crowns. This represented the end of aristocracies in that time. And from the heavens, the Christ and the angels watch, and this signifies fraternity or the feeling of the brotherhood. As I told you, that concept came from the French Revolution. So how did this come? At the end of the French Revolution, a liberal government or the National Assembly was set up. These National Assembly tried to set up the liberal constitutions, and these tried to maximize the popular support of nationalism. So they introduced the notation of the La Patrie, that is the concept of the fatherland, and La Citoyen, that is the citizens. Also, the new flag, or that is the French tricolor, that is blue, red, and white, was replaced by that replaced the old aristocratic flag. Also, new hymns was composed, oaths were taken, and the martyrs were remembered. The custom duties and the custom duties were abolished between the nations, and a uniform system of the measures and systems was introduced, and also the currencies, and the regional dialects of the French regional dialects was discouraged, and the French became the common language of the people. So these was all the measures taken by the liberal government or the National Assembly for the concept of nationalism. After this National Assemblies were dissolved, the Napoleon came into the power. He also introduced the Civil Code of 1804, also known as the Napoleonic Code. In this system, the administrative administrative reforms were introduced, and it became uniform throughout the France. Also, the people was given the right to property. They were given the right to equality before the law. The concept based upon the feudals was abolished. The concept of the memorial dues and the serfdom was also removed. And serfdom means the bonded labor. Also, the uniform systems of the weights and measures were introduced. And with this, as the Napoleon tried to expand, it went into multiple countries. As it was signifying of the nationalism, they were welcomed by that common people as they were seeing the angels. But however, this soon came to an end. The as the Napoleon won that country, he introduced increased taxation and heavy censorship. Also, he made the people force recruitment in the army and try to capture other people. As this signifies the expansion of the French. So now, making of nationalism in the Europe. How did the nationalism came to an Europe and how did it give raise rise to the national or the nation states? First, in that times, we can see early maps of the Europe mostly indicates the kingdoms. One of the most prominent kingdom was the Austria-Hungary kingdom. It was ruled over a vast area. And however, the peoples living in that area do not have any common thing other than the common king. They do not have a common language, they do not have a common history or any common sentiments. So they do not have the feeling of the nationalism. But so they people must revolt around this. They revolted. But at that time, the societies were mainly aristocrats that include the nobles and clergies and peasants. But at the as we see the age of industrialization, these peasants try to become big and give rise to the middle class. These middle class includes businessmen, merchants, and traders. So how did they help in the concept or the making the nationalism in the Europe? So first, they are mostly merchants, traders. They need to trade from one person to one place to the other. So as we can take a case of a Habsburg and Nuremberg, they have to pay 11 taxes. That is paying each 5% each time. That means if a person has started with rupees 100, at reaching the another end, he'd have only 15 to 16 rupees. So they wanted the removal of these trade barriers, and they wanted that guilt restriction should be removed. Also, they want uniformity of weights and measures and the currencies. So the word liberalism, they follow the concept of liberalism. The word liberalism comes from the word liber, which means free. So what are the policies of the mindsets of the liberalisms? They oppose that concentration of the property in the hands of few. They opposed the aristocrats. They wanted that a government should be formed based upon the consent of the people. Also, they wanted the removal of the guilt restrictions and the uniformity of the weights and measures and currencies. So, as we have seen, Napoleon was helping in the aid in the process of nationalism. But where did it go? In the Battle of 1815, that is the Water of Waterloo, four countries, that is Britain, Russia, Prussia, and Austria, tried to come up and defeat the Napoleon, as these countries was following the concept of conservatism, and the French was in the concept of the nationalism. This the Treaty of Vienna was hosted by the Austrian Chancellor, the Duke Metternich. In that, he said that if the France catches, if the France sneezes, the rest of the Europe catches cold. So, what are the consequences of the Treaty of Vienna? First, the buffer states were created around the French to avoid the expansion of the French. Also, the colonies and some parts of the French was given to or distributed between these four countries, such as Genoa was included into the Piedmont. The northern parts of the northern Italy was given to the Austria, and however the German configuration of the 39 states would remain untouched, and Poland was given to the Russia. So this was and heavy taxations and censorship was introduced to do not go against the concept of the conservatism. So people won't be sitting idle. They try to revolt. The most famous revolutionary of that time was Giuseppe Mazzini. He was born in 1807 in Genoa. He was a member of the secret society Carboni. In 1831, he tried to revolt in Liguria but went to an exile, and he introduced the two secret societies, that was the Young Italy in Marseilles and the Young Europe in Berlin. So people do confuse about these two common names, that is Giuseppe Mazzini and Giuseppe Garibaldi. As we can know that Giuseppe Mazzini was tried to unify Italy but failed, and he created two secret societies. And the Giuseppe Garibaldi was a member of these societies, and it helped in the unification of the Germany with Ottoman Bismarck. So let's summarize what we have learned today. First, we learned about the Frederick Choro's painting, then the concept of the nationalism through the French Revolution, the civil code of 1804, then making of nationalism in Europe through aristocrats and the new middle class, and the liberal nationalism, new conservatism, and the revolutionaries. From the next class, we will start from the age of revolutions. Thank you.